the 22nd of December in the afternoon. The afternoons, alas, are very short, so I'm up here for a couple of hours doing a little bit more. Unsure whether I'm going to put the time-lapse on because it's going to be a bit of a repeat of yesterday. But I wanted to show you this. You see the effect of these two large standards. There's an oak and a sweet chestnut with a spirally bark. Basically they've pushed a lot of the hazel, which is about 50 years of growth, so it's basically gone that way to avoid the shade of these trees. And as each one's gone over, so its neighbours have gone over as well. So for quite a long way out from the canopies of these two large trees, these trees have gone for the light, which is actually going northwards. But that's obviously better for them to go that way northwards than to go southwards towards the light through the canopies themselves. But that means for us, or for me, that if I want the tops to go as near as possible to the dead hedge, which is a little further out than usual, I would normally do it along to the base of this tree and fell everything onto it. But I want it to go near the dead hedge, so I have to move it as little as possible. The more stuff that I move and the further I move it, the more work I have to do. And I'm getting on in years and I don't like working if I can possibly avoid it. So what I'm going to be doing now is basically felling a lot of these trees. This one's fairly straight, but one behind it is leant away against the lean to get them towards this dead hedge. And you can see our fixed point up here. I did think about moving or putting another fixed point in closer, but until these are down, it's going to risk getting thumped, and my poor little GoPro might risk getting thumped. So what I might do is change the focus of my work from down there to up here, so that you get a little bit closer and you see more closely what I'm doing, because I'm conscious that I'm a little chap quite a long way away as far as the point of view of the GoPro goes. So that's my fixed point, just a bit of last year's coppice, nice straight bit. Put a point on with a chainsaw, banged it in with a Cyberman, and put a little knock here, which is where I line the GoPro lens up with. So I'll do that now and see what happens. Done a little bit more this afternoon on the dead hedge. So if we put you there like that, move you to the front so you don't see the front of the fixed point, and I'll start over there. Let's see how it goes. Right, you get the idea. So let's go and have a quick look. Hopefully the time-lapse will show I've been shifting stuff no more than 10 paces onto the dead hedge. The dead hedge sighting over here rather than over there is going in to be inconvenient. According to the guru from Sussex, a guy called Alan Waters, shouldn't move more than 10 paces from where you cut your material to where you stack it or process it. So from here Over there is more than 10 paces, but from there to there is just about 10 paces. But you can see how I've cut the firewood, the main trunks out of the middle, leaving the top to drop. Cut it all into sections which are handleable without busting a gut. You can see the lengths here. And then the stump ends up looking like that. And I'm doing them all directional felling with full bird's mouth and the back cut. Give you a nice hinge, which means that it can only go one of two ways, that way or that way. That way is the way I want it to go. I cut a third to a halfway in rather than just a little tiny one, because I want the biggest hinge possible, because I don't want it to snap off halfway. This hinge is a little bit wide, but basically came in here and stopped because the tree sat back on the saw. You can see where it's left rivet marks in there. It doesn't matter, the saw's not going to drop very far, and the tree is definitely going that way because I had the rope up it. And that's your finished stump with about 50 annual rings. You can pause and count if you want, but it's just about 50 every time I've counted. You probably saw me put the rope up because the thing was sat up in there, so it's leaning like these ones are. These will all have to have a rope in and pull the same way. I'll just pop you down for a minute. Sorry about this. So I'll take my glove off and get into my pocket, because if I had clear access to the back and all the way around on a stem this size, I'd use what's called cushion cuts. And the first of the two cuts in the back, one of which overlaps the other, I'd put in this little holding wedge, then do the second cut, come down to my desired hinge, which would be about that sort of width from there to there. But as I can't get at the back, I can't do that. So with these size trees, you can let it sit back on your saw. I might show you a cushion cut at some later point if I remember, and if there's one that's convenient and that needs it. Stems this size, it can be a little bit awkward to actually put them in, but that was just about doable. Right, I hope that made sense. I'm going to do a bit more now. Right, very last of the daylight and very last of the battery. Here's what we've cut today. Basically we've done all of this stall except for this one. This one was just leaning too much, so it had to go this way, but I was able to get the top of it back over that way because the rope was still up there, so it's saved a bit of work. That's the dead hedge. It's about the right height here, a bit low over there, but it's getting there.